Janavara Jaya Giri Vadadari Naya Gopi Janavara Jaya Giri Vadadari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanda Charina Tira Vanda Charina Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupada, Paramahamsa, Parivajacharya, Satashi, Srimad, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Jai Guru Premanandi. Oh, glorious to Samadhi, so glorious to Sri Guru and Sri Govardhana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. For today, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 3, chapter 21, text 25, I think it is. Is it written up 25? Yep. Prajapati Sata Samran Mano Vikyata Mangala Brahmavatam Yadivashan Shashti Sapta Navam Mahim Prajapati Sata Samran Mano Vikyata Mangala Brahmavatam Yadivashan Shashti Sapta Navam Mahim Prajapati Sutta Samran Mano Vikyata Mangala Brahmavatam Yadivashan Shashti Sapta Navam Mahim. Someone else? Ladies? Prajapati Sutta, the son of Lord Brahma, Shamrat, the emperor, Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, Vikyata, well known, Mangala, whose righteous acts, Brahmavatam, Brahmavata, Ya, he who, Adivashan, living in, Shasti, rules, Sapta, 7, Anavam, oceans, Mahim, the earth. Okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the Emperor Swayambhuva Manu, the son of Lord Brahma, who is well known for his righteous acts, has his seat in Brahmavata and rules over the earth with its 7 oceans. Purport: sometimes it is stated that Brahmavata is part of Kurukshetra, or that Kurukshetra itself is situated in Brahmavata, because the demigods are recommended to perform spiritual ritualistic performances in Kurukshetra. But in others' opinion, Brahmavata is a place in Brahmaloka where Swayambhuva ruled. There are many places on the surface of this earth which are also known in higher planetary systems. We have places on this planet like Vrindavan, Dwarka and Mathura, but they are also eternally situated in Krishnaloka. There are many similar names in the surface of the earth, and it may be that in the Boar age, Swayambhuva Manu ruled this planet as stated here. The word Mangala is significant. Mangala means one who is elevated in every respect, in the opulences of religious performances, ruling power, cleanliness, and all other good qualities. Bhaktyata means celebrated. Swayambhuva Manu was celebrated for all good qualities and opulences. Yes, this Brahmavata, the kingdom of Swayambhuva Manu. Actually, in some places it mentions that this Brahmavata is a place, it's in India, and it's situated where the Sarasvati river begins flowing east. It gets to a certain point and it starts flowing east, so it's there. But in other places it says that the Brahmavata is between the Jamuna and the Ganga. It's interesting. Actually, Srila Prabhupada in a number of places identifies features of the earth with features of Bhumandala and higher planetary systems. Actually, even Govardhana could be considered Brahma. Actually, in one conversation, Prabhupada mentions that the word Brahmavata means any place or country where the supremacy of the Lord is accepted and thus sacrifice is performed. So even, we could see New Govardhana is a Brahmavata, is a place where the supremacy of the Lord is accepted and sacrifice is being performed. It's interesting. That is Swayambhuva Manu. There's many Manus. Actually, there's sons of Lord Brahma. We can see, we're reading here. And of course, Lord Brahma is the head of universal affairs. And sons of Lord Brahma, like Swayambhuva Manu, they act as representatives of Lord Brahma. In one day, 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas, there's like 14 Manus. And in a whole life of Brahma, 100 years of Brahma, there's like 504,000 Manus. Our evolutionists and our molecular biologists, they believe that, that we descended from the apes. That intelligent human beings only existed like 100,000 years ago. They came onto the scene. But according to our Vedic literatures, the most intelligent being, Lord Brahma, and the present Lord Brahma, his life goes back 2 billion years, existed. And from him, so many amazing progenitors, like all these Manus and so many saintly personalities appeared, who actually are the original progenitors of our whole human race. So it's interesting. So Swayambhuva Manu, actually, he has a very long lifespan. He lives for 71 cycles of 4 yugas. And these Manus are said to be the great fathers of mankind. Because Lord Brahma, he's specifically interested in trying to deliver all the conditioned souls of this material world. And his representatives are also in that same mood and mission. We see, we got the Manu Samhita. I think some of you maybe have read the Manu Samhita, the law books for human society, which direct all activities towards loving devotional service to the Lord, and the different describes the different duties of the different varnas, different ashrams. So throughout the Vedic scriptures, we find many amazing historical accounts of great, powerful, saintly monarchs who ruled this planet at different times, like Swayambhuva Manu. And these, as mentioned in this verse, they're just embodiments of all auspicious godly qualities. And they set the standard and even inspire kings and even demigods in the art of ruling. They were like the perfect rulers. You know, because a ruler or the leader is said to be a representative of the Lord, to give protection to the citizens. And the result of good leadership, we read about this in the Vedic literature. Everyone is religiously happy. The earth is favorably supplying all the necessities of life. There's no bodily or mental suffering like we see in the world today, because we don't have these leaders. One of the biggest epidemics in the world at the moment is depression, unhappiness. There's like millions and millions of people flocking to therapists, getting on antidepressant drugs, turning to drugs, alcohol, even suicide. Well, we don't see those things in these days, ruled by these saintly monarchs, kings. There wasn't any even disease, no lamentation. Everyone was perfectly situated in society according to the Varnashram system. Everyone was naturally evolving spiritually, going back to Godhead at the end of their life. In this way, we see these great leaders like Swayambhuva Manu. They cared and actually loved the subjects, just like a loving father loves his own children. Yes. So that today is a very special day because it's the appearance day of Narottam Das Thakur. You know, Narottam Das Thakur. I was just thinking that actually last time Kadamba Swami was here, was on I think it was the appearance day, it might be the disappearance day of Narottam. He gave a talk on this. Yeah, it's a special. Narottam Das Thakur was a very special personality coming in our line of Vaishnavacharyas. And he has been glorified as the perfect devotee, whose pure devotion and realizations of the absolute truth was just reflected in his incredible writings, his beautiful songs and prayers. So before the appearance of Narottam Das Thakur, there was two important events that took place before Narottam's appearance in this world. And first was the appearance of Lokanath Goswami. And, you know, Lord Chaitanya sent Lokanath Goswami to Vrindavan, just like he sent Rupa and Sanatan to re-establish the lost places of pilgrimage of Krishna's pastimes. However, before he left Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya explained to him that one day a person named Narottam would arrive in Vrindavan and you should initiate him. That was the first event. The second event was Lord Chaitanya's prediction of the appearance of Narottam Das Thakur, which took place when Lord Chaitanya was on his way to Puri from Vrindavan. He stopped at Ramakeli to see Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. At that time, Lord Chaitanya looked into the Padma River and he shouted out, started shouting, "Oh Narottam, oh Narottam!" And tears were flowing from his eyes. He was just, you could say, overwhelmed with joy and happiness. And he began running back and forth like a madman. And everyone was wondering, what's happening? Why is he acting like this? Who's Narottam? But soon after, he explained to Lord Nityananda that soon a great devotee, Narottam, will come here, will take his birth, and he will absorb my kirtan ras with all my love. Lord Chaitanya said, I am anxious for this to happen. But then Lord Chaitanya told Nityananda, for now, I will deposit my intense love in this Padma river. And when Narottam comes here to bathe, the Padma river will extend my love to him. Wow. So the next day after the kirtan, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he entered into the Padma river, and suddenly the river started bubbling up, and the waters began overflowing the banks, unable to contain this divine prema that Lord Chaitanya was storing there. Yes. Then Lord Chaitanya explained to Lord Nityananda that it would be his duty in the future to guide Narottam to this Padma river, where this divine treasure of love of God was awaiting him, stored in this river. So then later on, around the time of Lord Chaitanya's disappearance in 1534, on the full moon day, Narottam made his appearance. Jai Shri Narottam Das Thakur Ki Jai. And it's explained that his father was a very wealthy king who raised him as an honoured prince. As a young boy, he was an exemplary student, mastering all academic subjects. However, his favourite activity as a young boy was to sit at the feet of this elderly Brahmana who would daily recite the beautiful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And Narottam just relished these stories. And actually he resolved his life to dedicate his life to the principles of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So one day when he was a teenager, Nityananda appeared to him in a dream, just as Lord Chaitanya had instructed him. And he told Narottam, you should take your bath in the Padma river tomorrow. At that time you will receive Krishna Prem, love of Godhead. So when Narottam woke up, the next morning, following Nityananda's instructions, he immediately went down to the Padma river. Then when he entered that river, he felt himself undergo this incredible vital transformation, tears. He was like experiencing ecstatic symptoms of love of God, Krishna Prem. So while he was there in the river, an incredible thing happened. Suddenly, at that very moment, Lord Chaitanya himself mystically appeared and affectionately embraced him. Wow, imagine that. And as their bodies came together in that embrace, Narottam's body, which was naturally a dark Indian complexion, suddenly turned molten gold like Lord Chaitanya's. Then Lord Chaitanya mystically disappeared from Narottam's sight. And of course Narottam, he didn't return home for a long time. So his parents were thinking, where's Narottam? Where is he? So they sent out a search party. And then they found him dancing furiously on the bank of the Padma river. He was like a madman. He was just experiencing all these ecstatic symptoms of love of God. And they brought him home. And his parents couldn't recognize him. I mean, suddenly their son, instead of having his usual natural dark colour, suddenly he was molten gold. And he was continuously crying, tears of love, exhibiting all these ecstatic symptoms. And then, of course, his mother frantically confronted him. Oh, my dear Nara, what's happened to you? Why are you weeping? how can we help you? Narottam replied, my dear mother, this morning when I went to bathe in the Padma River, a golden form of the Supreme Lord entered my heart. Now I am feeling so much love in separation from him. Because Narottam's father, who was the king, he suddenly became very distressed, thinking, my only son, Narottam, who's the heir to the kingdom, the future king, he was thinking, he's thinking maybe he's going to run away and become a sadhu. He was very afraid. Therefore, the king requested his best guards to watch over Narottam day and night. So Narottam, he became like a prisoner in his own home. Then one night, Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in a dream and instructed him, you've got to leave home and go to Vrindavan and take initiation from Lokanath Goswami. Yes. So Narottam, he was planning his escape. Then one night, a few months later, he saw his chance and he managed to escape from the palace and he ran through the forests heading to Vrindavan. You know, it was a very long and difficult journey. He was just a pampered prince. You know, he's traveling across India, and after 3 days, due to hunger and exhaustion, he just collapsed and lost consciousness. But then what happened? Lord Chaitanya came. He arrived there disguised as a Brahmana. He revived Narottam, gave him some special milk. It was like a super smoothie. Gave him special strength. Then also one night, Rupa and Goswami and Sanatan appeared to Narottam in a dream and kept encouraging, go to Vrindavan, keep coming. And Narottam, when he finally reached Mathura, he met an elderly Brahmana there who informed him of the sad news. What was that sad news? Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, many other of these amazing, great, saintly personalities who Narottam was hoping to meet had recently departed from this world, had returned to the spiritual world to join Lord Chaitanya's eternal Leela in the spiritual world. So as the Brahmana spoke this, Narottam, he began to cry. He travelled so far to meet them, and now they had all departed from this world. And there's a special song we sing, Yanilo Premadana. It's a song by Narottam Das Thakur, expressing this lamentation. So he suddenly fainted, and then suddenly all those personalities appeared to him in a spiritual vision, encourage him, keep going to Vrindavan. Even though we're not there, you should go and take shelter of Jiva Goswami. You know, Jiva Goswami was the youngest of the Goswamis. He was still living there in Vrindavan. He was like the main acharya for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas at that time. So after a long and difficult journey, Narottam finally arrived in Vrindavan. He came to the Govinda Dev temple and he just fell flat before the deities, exhibiting all these ecstatic symptoms of love of God. And soon, of course, Lokanath Goswami, Jiva Goswami, many other great Vaishnavas, they came to greet him. Actually, Lord Chaitanya had revealed to Lokanath Goswami of Narottam's arrival in Vrindavan in a dream. So they were all there to meet him, and soon, of course, Narottam and Lokanath Goswami sat down, they took prasadam together, during which time Narottam told Lokanath his entire story. You know, how he went to the river and Lord Chaitanya embraced him, and Of course, during this discussion, Narottam reminded Lokanath Goswami of Lord Chaitanya's desire that Lokanath accept him as his disciple. However, out of genuine humility, he didn't think he was worthy. This is the symptoms of great Vaishnavas. They're very, very humble. So Lokanath, he just thinking himself unqualified, he was reluctant to give him initiation. So Narottam, he just stayed there. He humbly served Lokanath Goswami for 2 full years, listening to his discourses, performing menial services, maintaining a very strict sadhana, chanting his japa very enthusiastically for 2 full years, but still no initiation. Then one day Lord Chaitanya appeared to Lokanath in a dream and chastised him. Didn't I tell you to initiate Narottam? Give up this false humility. So, next day, following Lord Chaitanya's order, Lokanath Goswami performed the initiation ceremony, gave Narottam, of course, both Diksha and Brahman initiation at the same time. And he instructed Narottam at that initiation to always meditate on the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And keep your sadhana strong and be greedy for attaining Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And be careful not to commit offenses, especially to Vaishnavas. And then Lokanath Goswami then concluded the initiation by asking Narottam to take shelter of Jiva Goswami for further instructions, as his instructing spiritual master. So Narottam, he fell flat before his spiritual master. His heart just erupted in gratitude and love. Then all the Vaishnavas present showered their blessings on young Narottam. Also during that initiation, Lokanath Goswami revealed to Narottam his eternal form. His eternal form as Vilas Manjari, who is one of the very young and dear maidservants of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. Yes. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that sometimes he descends himself, and sometimes he comes in his various incarnations, and sometimes he sends his representatives from the spiritual world to capture those lost souls who have forgotten their relationship with Radha and Krishna. Yes. So these representatives of Krishna, such as Narottam Das Thakur, have been sent from Krishna's inner circle of confidential devotees from the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, Radha and Krishna are eternally served and worshipped by the 8 principal gopis. And their assistants are the young 10 to 14-year-old manjaris who have beautiful forms. They're like young girls who have beautiful forms like Srimati Radharani. And they have all varieties of very, very specialized services, such as dressing and decorating Radha's hair and massaging her body, preparing snacks and drinks for the divine couple, and fanning them. So it was this Vilas Manjari who was sent by Krishna to appear in the form of Narottam Das Thakur to help spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and deliver the fallen souls of this age. Actually, there's one story. One night, Srimati Radharani, she appeared to Narottam in a dream and instructed him to assist Champakalata. Champakalata was one of the 8 principal gopis, but one of her principal services was making beautiful milk sweets for Radha and Krishna. Wow, amazing service. So Narottam was ordered to assist her. and making these beautiful sweets for Radha and Krishna. So it is said that Narottam, sometimes he'd go into these amazing, elaborate, meditative trances where he would actually visualize himself boiling the milk in his eternal form as a manjari. And it's very mystical because sometimes even in this visualization of assisting Champakalata, sometimes the milk would start boiling over. And Narottam, using his bare hands, would try to prevent it from boiling over. And as a result, he would burn his hands. And afterwards, you could see him walking around Vrindavan with bandages on his hands. It's very mystical, you know. Only very few devotees could understand, you know, what was going on, what had occurred. So following his guru's order, Narottam went and begged Jiva Goswami to accept him as his student. And Jiva Goswami immediately embraced Narottam, saying, "You are a manifestation of Lord Chaitanya's love, and with this love you will flood the entire universe." Actually, one day, Jiva Goswami, he loudly announced to the assembly of devotees that it was Lord Chaitanya's desire that we not only write, but also distribute these books far and wide. So now we have many manuscripts written by the Goswamis of Vrindavan and others. The time has come to go out and distribute them. This is the beginning of book distribution. This is where it all started. So, after saying this, Jiva Goswami's eyes, they fell on his best three students, which was Narottam, Srinivas and Shyamananda. And then he asked them to accept this mission of distributing the books. So hearing this, Srinivas said on behalf of all three, "We are deeply honored to be chosen for such a special service." So not long after getting the blessings of the deities, the Vaishnavas of Vrindavan, they packed all the books into trunks, loaded onto the bullock carts. They didn't have Sankirtan vans in those days, they had bullock carts. And then they set out on their mission to distribute books in Bengal and surrounding areas where Lord Chaitanya had previously performed his pastimes, all around Bengal, yes. So as the years passed by, you know, the news spread of Narottam's amazing qualities, his devotion, his incredible wisdom. And as a result, many, many people came to take shelter of him all over India. Devotees, writers, poets, viceroys, kings, philosophers. Also, what happened is one day, Narottam received a letter from his guru, Lokanath Goswami, emphasizing the importance of engaging people in deity worship. Then he instructed Narottam to establish a temple in Cheturi in Bangladesh and install deities there. So, what they did, this was the beginning of this huge festival, actually. They built this huge temple. Then this large storehouse for storing food supplies, an elaborately designed kirtan hall, residential quarters for visiting devotees. A whole area was landscaped with beautiful bathing ghats, beautiful parks and gardens. Then just prior to the festival, thousands of people began gathering for this event. There was so many first and second generation associates of Lord Chaitanya, kings, landowners, scholars, Vaishnavas, local people, so many kirtan performers came. So on the first day of the installation, Narottam unveiled 5 sets of Radha Krishna deities. Then after this elaborate bathing ceremony of these deities, there was a Krishna Katha recitations, it was classical dances and dramas, ecstatic kirtans, and there's this huge feast served for thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And after everyone had honored the feast, and everyone had enjoyed each other's association for some time, then they all went over to the kirtan hall, this amazingly, elaborately designed kirtan hall, to fully immerse themselves in chanting the holy name. And Narottam, he was a very famous kirtan leader, actually. And he began singing these beautiful prayers, glorifying Lord Chaitanya. Then as the tempo began increasing, Narottam began leading a special kirtan. Actually, in those days, they used to sing kirtan using the most sophisticated rhythms and very sophisticated melodies. And everyone just sang and danced in ecstasy. Tears flowing from their eyes in joy as the kirtan began evolving through different stages. Actually, it is said that the kirtan leader has the power to elevate the chanters. Narottam, because he was such an elevated soul, when he started leading the kirtan, people were crying, dancing in ecstasy. And then as the kirtan got faster and faster, they started building up the kirtan. And everyone was becoming more and more enthusiastic and were just swimming in the mellows of ecstatic love. And then the kirtan was just really pumping. It was really just like it reached its pinnacle. Something very miraculous happened. Suddenly, like a flash of lightning, Lord Chaitanya just suddenly appeared in the middle of the kirtan, chanting and dancing ecstatically. And they were thinking, my God, is this real? Is this just a spiritual vision? Are we dreaming? Narottam, he reached out and touched Lord Chaitanya's hand just to see if it was real, if he was really there. And when he touched Lord Chaitanya's hand, shivers of ecstasy just ran through Narottam's entire body. Tears just shot out from his eyes. His hair stood on end. Narottam realized this wasn't a dream or a vision. Actually, Lord Chaitanya was actually here, dancing in our kirtan. Then all of a sudden, what happened? Nityananda appeared in the kirtan, dancing. And then Haridas Thakur, Rupa and Sanat, and Swarup Damodar, many other elevated divine personalities who had already left this world, joined the kirtan. This for the devotees, my God, this is the kirtan of a lifetime. We've got Lord Chaitanya. We've got all these dancing in our kirtan. Devotees couldn't believe their eyes, actually. That was simply bewildered and amazed at the sight of such divine personalities present before them, just dancing and chanting. And everyone was just carried away in ecstasy, chanting and and they chanted and danced. Not just for 20 minutes or 1 hour. They danced for hours and hours and hours, all deep into the night. Because they've got spiritual bodies too, they can... They don't get tired like us. And then Lord Chaitanya and his eternal associates, they just, all of a sudden, 1 minute they were there, danced, the next minute they disappeared. They've gone back to the spiritual world. So in due course of time, Narottam, he became the most famous Vaishnava guru in Bengal. His intense purity, his beautiful writings, amazing kirtans and lectures, so many souls came to take shelter of him. And actually his mood it is said, is always viewed in an amazing, it's like a mixed state of bliss and lamentation. Lamentation due to intense feelings of separation from Radha and Krishna. His eternal position is there, intimately serving Radha and Krishna, and suddenly he's here in the material world, trying to save the conditioned souls, and he's feeling separation from them, intense separation. Actually, it's said that finally he couldn't tolerate this intensity of separation. He was just too overwhelmed by this separation. This mood of separation, it represents the pinnacle of devotion. It's the highest stage of prema, or divine love, which is only realized by those devotees who have the highest qualifications, like the 6 Goswamis, etc. As Narottam, it became so intense, this feeling of separation, that he's decided that I can't remain here anymore in this material world. I've got to go back to the spiritual world to be reunited with my beloved Radha and Krishna. So what he did is he requested all his intimate followers to accompany him to the Ganges. On arriving there, he paid his obeisances to Mother Ganga, and then he entered her waters. Then he requested his servant to massage his body while he was in the Ganga. And as the devotees present, there were all these disciples and followers that were chanting the holy name. Suddenly what happened is they realized there's something very mystical actually, because they witnessed Narottam was there being massaged by his disciple, and suddenly Narottam's body slowly just melted away into this milky substance and just mixed with the water of the Ganges. So they could understand Narottam's, he's returned, he's gone back to the Goloka Vrindavan to once again resume his eternal spiritual form as Vilas Manjari, the dear confidential servant of the divine couple. Shri Shri Narottam Das Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Go Premanandi.